And now, dear viewers, with our special guest for today. MAHSA International Conference was held on accounting and businesses under the slogan Spreading Digital Transformation and Innovation for Businesses Sustainability. Our dear guests for today have been awarded Best Paper Award and Best Presenter Award at the International Conference. So to let know more about this important of this conference, its objectives and its most prominent topics through our dear guest, Dr. Shaikhah Alainati. She is Assistant Professor, Department of Management, College of Business Studies at Public Authority for Applied Education and Training. So hello and good morning, Doctor.
Hello. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Actually, I'm so happy to be with us in our show today.
I'm so happy too. Thank you so much for having me.
And congratulations for the awarded. Actually, we're gonna talk more about the awards you took actually. But first of all, we'd like to know about the conference. You held the conference in MAHSA,
yes.
International University. Can you please elaborate more about the conference?
Yes. Usually, universities such MAHSA University is one of the reputable universities in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. Usually, they do hold these kind of conferences to have researchers from different disciplines, from different research background, sharing their research with other researcher. So it is very important for us researchers to learn from each other, sometimes even collaborate with each other.
That's amazing.
And I did have that opportunity, thank God, to collaborate with people from different universities in different disciplines.
So different universities, different disciplines,
yes.
Too many participants are there.
Exactly.
So what about the nature of participation in this conference?
Usually it goes within 2 days. It was held on the 22nd and the 23rd of September of this year,
yes.
a few weeks ago. But they do have it usually in these two-day settings, very concentrated with different ballrooms, where each ballroom, classified with its own settings, whether it's business kind of research, another with technology, another one with accounting, and so on. So whatever your interest is, you can be in that ballroom. Of course, they already said them,
yes.
Where to go in the first day and the second days, and then at the end, they do celebrate, who's the winner of the conferences and so on. So it is very encouraging as well. Very uplifting, and I was so honored to be in their university and to be also recognized.
That's amazing. And also you've been so proud about the awards. Actually, you've been awarded.
Yes.
The Best Paper, the Best Paper Award and the Best Presenter Award.
Correct, yes.
So what's your feedback about yourself, about these awards actually?
I was totally surprised, to be honest. I mean, I did my best in the conference, and that's why at the end of the conference, the closing one, they will always say, please attend prior to this closing ceremony.
Yes.
And over there, of course, they announce who's the winner, and you have absolutely no idea who's going to be chosen. And again, I'm very thrilled that they chose me. I'm very grateful.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Congratulations again,
Thank
Doctor.
you so much.
Tell us about this research actually. You participated in this conference. Talk about this more.
Yes, the title of my research that I presented at the conference is called Faculty Perception of Online Learning, Kuwait Case Study, of course, and I took specifically the colleges of business studies, the colleges of PATE, the Public Authority for Applied Education. So what it's all about is I wanted to study the faculty members and how did they dealt with the online learning. Before the pandemic, we used to do it very traditional way. We go to our classrooms, lecture our students, and that's it. But with the pandemic, we have to switch immediately to the online. Nevertheless, we did have the system embedded. But faculty members, including myself, I have to be very honest, we did not use the system because we're very much in use with the traditional way of teaching.
Yes.
Now with the shift, this is the importance of my study. I wanted to know how do they look at the online. Were they comfortable with it? Did they have any obstacles? Did they have their pros and cons, basically?
Right.
So we did find, with the methodology I've used, I used a focus group, a survey questionnaire, we did find that, in general, faculty members are prone to use online learning, and they do have a lot of benefit, even though they struggled at the very beginning because they faced the uncertainty, they didn't know how to use it. They were thinking that not only I have to know how to use the online, but I have to manage my class virtually.
Right.
And to facilitate my student and to guide them in the classroom virtually again. So after the pandemic, we wanted to know whether they found it useful, whether they want to go back to traditional or they want to maintain, of course, the online. Nowadays, with the artificial intelligence and all of that, we must have the online, but we studied the pros and cons of the system.
Yes.
Actually, the pros and cons of both systems, the traditional and the online. And then we found that one of the downside of online was there was more pros of cheating from the student side. This is one of them.
Yes.
Another thing that teacher found students less interactive in the classroom virtually because they were, looking at a screen, and the screen was not very much
encouraging to
exactly.
interact.
Yes. However, it was more interactive outside the classroom.
Okay.
Yeah, but at the same time also, teachers found more ease of using the online, especially that they're more now used to it. They found that they can reach their students much more easily. They can have their homeworks, virtual kind of material they can give their students using the online. So the end result of this research is that we can have the benefit of both systems, since students cannot learn or they cannot interact more freely online, then we can teach them in the traditional way in classroom, but at the same time we can use the benefit of online, like homeworks, virtual materials and such, and the communication between students and their teachers, classrooms, virtual groups and so on. All of these tools can be used by the teacher as well as the students.
Yes.
So the outcomes or the recommendation I drew from this research is that if you want to have, of course, both systems, the online and the traditional, because of the pros and cons of each systems, you need to study at your educational institute what are the pros and cons of your educational institute. What is good for me may not be good for you. What is bad for me may not be bad for you.
Exactly.
So you need to study both systems in order to decide on how much you're going to go for online versus traditional. Having said that, however,
yes,
now we are in the 21st century. We have all these 21st century skills we need to teach our students. We need to teach them critical thinking. We need to teach them creativity. We need to teach them e-skills, anything with electronics, anything that makes them more high-tech. And they can use artificial intelligence right now.
more creative, let's say.
Exactly, more creative. That's what we need in our studies. Therefore, online is a must. We have to have it. And now, more than ever, teachers have different tools, different methods of teaching
Yes.
that they can use. For example, one of them is called a flipped class method, where the teacher can give their students a problem to solve
Online.
and they can discuss it virtually with each other if they wish, and they can present it in class.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Both of them.
Exactly. So now you give the students the skills of being communicative. We don't have a lot of communication skills when we teach. Unfortunately, it's one-way communication where the teacher gives their lecture. But when you look at the students, they're only receiving. But when you give them such a problem solving, when you give them a little bit of, okay, I needed to prepare this section, for example, give me a little bit of presentation, that will develop their ability to speak in general and to communicate and to think creatively outside of the box, as we can say.
It's amazing. I have to admit, I love the idea for
Thank
both,
you.
actually. The traditional, the online, we have to combine together, actually, to
Exactly.
be both. Not only online and not like only or just the traditional way. So your recommendation is to have these, actually, let's say your research here in Kuwait, in our school.
Correct. For the colleges of business study, as a matter of fact, I used mixed method of qualitative and quantitative method. I did a focus group, and the survey questionnaires, I distributed the survey questionnaires on different colleges of PATE.
Okay.
Not only the College of Business Studies. And from that, I realized that different schools have different needs. So in the College of Business Studies, where we can have more online teaching, in other colleges, they need more hands-on kind of training. For example, College of Technology.
Okay.
They still can use virtual reality, for example, for their students. It doesn't have to be always with the real material. It can be used virtually.
That's amazing.
So yes, so even the expenses can be less. So that's the trick. You need to study your college in order to see what is the pros and cons and how to maximize your education. At the same time, use the technology while you're teaching.
That's amazing. So it depends. So in each school and each college, they see what actually they fit for them. They see the pros and cons about both sides.
Exactly.
So how long actually you've been doing this research, Doctor?
It took me a little bit less than a year.
That's amazing. After Corona, for sure. After you experienced
yes, it was
the online,
after Corona. Yes, exactly. This is the purpose of this research.
Yes, the purpose.
You know, we were
you experienced
traditional.
that actually for like 2 years, and now you did the research. That's amazing.
Exactly.
So what about the employee now? We've talked about the school, the students, the colleges. What about the employees now? Because we are sitting like about around 7 hours in a day, just staring at the screens, and we can do the work like in half an hour or 2 hours, like maximum. So what's your recommendation about the employees as well?
Well, I came from a background of human resource management, and I started my conference with talking about the role of human resource management. They're the one who train, who evaluate employees, who see the pros and cons, hire and fire probably even employees. So I was looking at the faculty members from that perspective. But since you mentioned employees, the same thing goes for employees. During Corona, we did work virtually as well. It was not only, we did take a break, of course, at the very beginning, but then, of course, we had to move back on work. Everything is on the computer. But I have to tell you, from a personal experience, it was a little bit draining. At the very beginning, it was a little bit scary.
Yes.
Many of the faculty members thought, oh my God, I'm not even used to, looking at the computer.
Yes.
Exactly, on computer, let alone I have to manage my classroom virtually and to assist my students as well. The same thing goes for employees, many of them, and students. Many of them thought, maybe I cannot. It is very overwhelming. It is something unknown for me. Maybe I cannot do it. This comes the role of human resource management. They have to assess their employees. Believe it or not, in one of the studies that I did previously,
Yes.
They show that age groups need different training.
Age groups.
Exactly. So younger generation needs more kind of technical training than the older generation.
Okay.
I don't like to say it, but this is based on a research. So you need to accommodate. Having said that, however,
Yes.
it doesn't mean that you're in an older group or a younger group. That means that's where you fit. Sometimes it has to be modified according to the individual need of the employee themselves.
That's amazing.
And you have to also consider their emotional and mental health. It's a lot of stress, especially with the sudden shift. You need to also know how it has impacted other people, other employees. Not everybody was willing, not everybody was encouraged, not everybody received the proper training. That comes the role of human resource management to identify these aspects of employees.
Well, it needs too many elements, like educational, psychological, especially for the kids, for the beginning of their studies. That's amazing. Doctor, so how many conferences actually you've been participated in?
I cannot even. I would say probably around 8 or 7
Wow,
conferences.
that's amazing.
Yes, and every time, I'm learning new something.
You're learning.
Yes, and I'm meeting new researchers, and new deals, so it is very beneficial.
So the question is why actually you are participating in these conferences?
Well, one of the things I mentioned earlier is that because when you participate with your research, you're looking at certain area. For example, the College of Business Studies. During the conferences, one of the participants, she asked me, she said, what about this, what about that? It gives me a better perspective for a next research probably, and probably a collaboration with this researcher. So it gives you encouragement, it gives you an assurance, it gives you the ability to participate with other research from different worlds, from your discipline.
Yes.
Not only that, with other researchers from different disciplines, you can also make this research. Now our research is not based on business, for example. It is multidisciplinary, where many different elements, as you mentioned earlier, goes into one research.
That's really amazing. I have to say I'm proud of you, Doctor. And thank you for this research. I hope actually we will do it here in Kuwait for all the schools, all the university to, let's say, improve our educational sector.
Yes, yes, it is very beneficial.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Big thanks and appreciation to our dear guest, Dr. Shaikhah Alainati. She's an assistant professor, Department of Management at the College of Business Studies at the Public Authority for Applied Education and Training. World Food Day in 2020.